He must be the most pitiful man on earth. After breaking up with his girlfriend, he sat in the car with his wife, not daring to show the slightest emotion. Back when he was dating, he was scared his parents would find out. Now that he was dating again, he was scared his wife would find out. A life full of regrets. Even though Clara and he were legally married, they only ever visited each other's families once a year when their parents had birthdays. Today was his father's birthday. While waiting in the car for Clara, he had just finished a phone call that ended badly. But the moment he saw her, he pushed his emotions down and helped her fasten her seat belt. Since they were visiting his parents, he didn't want them to worry if things between them seemed tense, so he tried starting small talk a few times, attempting to lighten the mood. But Clara just kept giving him the cold shoulder, pretending not to hear a word he said. Eventually, he lost patience and gave up trying. His girlfriend had just dumped him over the phone earlier, so he was already feeling low. Now Clara's attitude made it worse. Several times he was on the verge of tears when emotions surged, but in the end, he held it all back. When a little pearl accidentally slipped out, he just quietly turned his head and wiped it away in secret. Just as he was wallowing in misery, Clara's phone rang. Her boyfriend was calling. She answered without hesitation right in front of him. He could hear his hoarse, phlegm-choked voice on speaker. "Babe, I had too much to drink earlier. Think I got a concussion from banging my head. Can you come over?" Clara frowned, her voice turning cold. "I've got something going on. Call an ambulance." He begged. "Please, babe, just come see me for a minute. Yesterday was my fault. I was a jerk. It was an accident. I swear I won't do it again. Please give me another chance." His voice cracked and got more desperate by the second. Clara stayed unmoved. Then she glanced at him, maybe realizing he was eavesdropping. He quickly looked out the window, pretending not to hear. But then he heard her say, "Wait for me downstairs." She hung up, then turned to him and said, "Take me to my boyfriend's place." He stared at her, incredulous. "Clara, it's my dad's birthday. Don't you think you're crossing the line?" She replied, "I'll just stop by quickly, there's still time." Then she added, "If you won't take me, just drop me off at the next corner. I'm not going to your dad's dinner." He clenched his teeth and laughed coldly, but said nothing more. There was no point. Once she made up her mind, nothing he said could change it. But it was fine. As long as she didn't make a scene in front of their families, he could endure it. He curled his lips into a forced smile and floored the gas pedal, straight to her boyfriend's building. When they arrived, he saw him standing there with gauze wrapped around his whole head. He looked so ridiculous he almost laughed. If he didn't know better, he'd think an ancient pharaoh had just escaped the pyramid. Still, Clara got out of the car and took him to a pharmacy for some bandages. He sat in silence, watching her gently stick a Band-Aid on top of his gauze. Then she stood on tiptoe and kissed him. She said, "Don't drink so much again, okay? You're still young. What if it messes up your health? You're making people worry." Flirting with another man in front of her husband. Clara truly didn't care about him at all. He frowned and asked, "Are you done yet?" He checked his watch and urged her impatiently. Clara didn't answer, but her puppy-eyed boyfriend did. "Sorry for holding you up, brotherly. Miss Chin was worried about me, so she came right over when she heard I was hurt. Please don't blame her." Clearly he didn't know Clara had answered his call on speaker. He asked, "You know who I am?" He nodded. "I interned at your company before." The kid looked young, probably just out of college, eyes full of clueless optimism. All he could think about was romance and drama, like saying a few sweet words would set him off. He chuckled and replied, "Oh, it's fine then." He added, trying to teach him a little something. "Listen, kid, if she really cared about you, she wouldn't have dragged her husband along to see you. Bringing your husband to meet your side guy, only Clara could pull that off." After they got back in the car, he asked, "That kid seems decent, young, fit. Why are you dumping him?" In the rearview mirror, he saw the pharaoh still standing there, clearly devastated. Clara rolled her eyes and scoffed. "He wants to propose." Ah, he understood now. The kid had a fetish, really into married women. Too bad. Clara, as she liked to claim, was far too clear-headed and independent. That's exactly why she kept a simp like him around. She didn't believe in love, not in general, and certainly not in what they once had. He laughed. "You had me drive you there just so I'd throw a punch at him and give you an excuse to dump him, didn't you?" He gave her a sideways glance, but didn't press further. Clara clearly didn't want to continue this topic either. Instead, "So, when are you introducing me to that woman you're seeing?" When he stayed silent, she snorted. Don't bother denying it. I've known for a while. Bring her out for a cup of tea sometime. You know I won't mind. And she really wouldn't care. But he still couldn't let her find out because the woman he was seeing was her best friend, Clara, and he had been together since school uniforms to wedding vows. Their families were well matched in background and social standing, and they were close friends. They used to be the couple everyone envied until the day he found an open pack of emergency birth control pills in her purse. And that's when he realized she was cheating. It felt like the sky had fallen. He lost it, forced her to break it off with the guy. He even ran that bastard out of City A. But just a few months later, the private investigator told him she was also fooling around with her personal trainer at the gym. When he confronted Clara, she snapped back. Eric, cut the act. You really think I don't know about the woman you're keeping outside? You think I can't feel it? You've been sick of me for ages. You come home and fall asleep the second you hit the couch. Always busy or tired. If you don't care for your wife, why shouldn't someone else? You really think this is a life worth living? Don't tell me you never thought about trying someone new. You do your thing, I'll do mine. As long as we don't divorce, let's just stay out of each other's way. He'd never been one for useless arguments. If it can be settled with fists, he won't waste time talking. But divorce? Divorce was never an option. Then she escalated, started bringing men into their home while he was away. The worst blow-up they ever had was when he returned early from a business trip and found her in bed with another man. His bed. Furious, he punched the guy so hard he knocked out 2 of his front teeth. Get out now, he roared. Clara called him a violent psycho. No woman would ever marry someone like you, she spat. She left with that guy to go to the hospital. Only then did he realize their golden retriever was missing. Turns out when Clara and that man came home, his dog bit him. So the bastard grabbed Orange and threw him off the balcony. He found Orange lying in a pool of blood, body stiff and cold. He called Clara, voice shaking. Clara, we raised Orange together. Are you even human anymore? She just said calmly, you're not short on money, just buy another one. Then she had the audacity to send him a dog breeder's link. That night, he ran into Clara's best friend Eva at a bar. Eva was everything Clara wasn't. Reserved, gentle, the classic ice queen of their social circle. Driven by spite, he watched Eva politely turn down 13 guys before finishing his drink in one gulp and walking over. He smiled. Eva, what a coincidence. He sat beside her, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She glanced sideways at him. Is it? He didn't remember much about that night. Only that he woke up the next morning in Eva's home. How did I end up here? He asked. Eva had changed into a plain white dress, apron tied around her waist. She clearly worked out, slim, toned, her silhouette naturally alluring even when just standing there while chopping ingredients. She said without looking up, last night you said you wanted to sleep with me. He flushed, his eyes darted away. When she didn't say anything else, he asked, and did I? She looked him dead in the eye and said, you succeeded. He frowned. What do you mean by that? The exact thing you're thinking. Then she placed the breakfast she made in front of him and said, don't know if it's to your taste. Just eat what you can. They didn't say anything else. It wasn't until he was about to leave that Eva asked, what are you planning to do now? He blinked. What do you mean? She pursed her lips and gave him a look like he was just another scumbag. Last night happened. Don't you think you should take responsibility? He thought for a moment before saying seriously, Eva, you know I have a wife. She snapped. Then why did you come after me last night? Divorce her. I'm not going to be your side chick. He rubbed his forehead. That's not something I can do right now. To be honest, I had approached her that night with a purpose, so I didn't bother sugarcoating things. He said, then how about this? Be my girlfriend. Wife is wife, girlfriend is girlfriend. Separate lanes. Deal. Eva let out a cold laugh and opened the door for him to leave. He figured that was the end of it. But 2 months later, late one night, he got a call from an unknown number. It was Eva. Sounded like she'd been drinking, voice hazy and soft. Eric, why won't you divorce her? He put down his book and answered patiently. Because it's not just about me and her. It's about the Lee and Chin families. Eva choked back a sob and asked, then what about me? You came after me first. Don't you owe me something? He said, if you accept my arrangement, I'll take responsibility. The line went silent. He didn't hang up, he waited. Finally, after a long pause, he heard her resigned voice. Okay, I accept. After that, they traveled abroad together. In the neighboring city, they held hands like any normal couple, watched movies like teens on a date. Eva was sweet, always came when he called. She never brought up divorce again until that one trip when he got into a car accident. In his phone's contact list, everyone saved under their real name except Eva. Her contact name is Girlfriend. She changed it herself one time while playing with his phone, secretly edited it. So after his car accident, the police contacted Eva directly based on that label. At the hospital, a family member had to sign off. He said, "Call Clara, my parents are too old to be dragged out in the middle of the night." But when he regained consciousness, the first person he saw in the hospital room was his mom. She asked a few worried questions, then stepped out. After she left, he turned to Eva and asked, "Why did my mom come?" Eva was peeling an orange. She said, "I called Clara multiple times. She didn't answer. There was no other choice. I had to call Auntie." He should have known. Clara had been cold toward him for a long time. After she started cheating, she barely picked up his calls. The room fell silent again as drowsiness took over and he began to drift off. Eva finally spoke. "Eric, divorce Clara." His eyes snapped open. Eva was usually quiet, low maintenance. She'd hardly brought up divorce again after that one time. He asked, "Why bring this up now?" Eva finally looked up at him. Only then did he notice how pale and worn out she looked. Her eyes were red. She must have stayed by his side all night and barely rested. Her voice, "I don't want to keep being the secret side woman. I want to stand beside you in the open. I'm afraid that if something like this happens again, I won't even have the right to sign for you as next of kin. I'll just be pacing around helplessly, calling your wife again and again. I don't want to lie and say I'm just a friend when your parents ask who I am. But Eric, we're not friends, and I don't want to be your friend." She broke down, crying in front of him. This time he couldn't bring himself to say no. But he also knew it wouldn't be so easy for Clara and him to divorce. She said, "Eric, make up your mind. Either break up with me or divorce Clara. Until you decide, I won't bother you again." That day Eva took care of everything at the hospital. She arranged a caregiver, set up his meals, even put his favorite books at the bedside. But after that, she really didn't show up again. Every year on his dad's birthday, his mom gives the housekeeper the day off. She rarely cooks herself, but on this day, she always makes a full table of their favorite dishes just for him. He was chatting with his dad in the tea room. Clara was in the kitchen helping his mom. During dinner, they started reminiscing about the days when Clara and he were still in school. His mom chuckled. "You two were secretly dating back then, but both families had already figured it out. You two were the only ones stubborn enough to keep denying it." Thinking back, he couldn't help but sigh. Life really is absurd sometimes. Back then they were scared of their parents finding out they were in love. Now that they're married, they're scared of their spouses finding out they're in love. A lifetime of regrets. The thought made him laugh quietly to himself. After dinner, he went out with his dad to pick up a package. He suddenly asked, "What were you thinking about at dinner? I saw you smiling to yourself." He shook his head. "Nothing much." Then he said, "Dad, if I divorced Clara, would you and Mom be against it?" He let out a sigh. "We've known something's wrong with your marriage for a while now," he said. "But since you never brought up divorce, we didn't say anything either." He looked him straight in the eye. "Your mom and I only have one son. Whatever you decide to do, as long as you've thought it through, we'll support you." He added, "If the two of you don't want to be together anymore, then just get divorced. What's the big deal?" His eyes stung. He took a breath and said, "If we split, both families' interests would get divided. The company might take a hit." His dad chuckled and patted his shoulder. "Don't worry about that. That's my problem to handle. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up. You're my son. If I don't clean up your mess, who will? Whatever you want to do, Eric, go for it. I'll always be your backup." Even so, when real stakes are on the line, he knew he still had to think carefully. That night, Clara and he left his parents' place. As soon as they pulled out of their neighborhood, a man suddenly darted into the street. Thankfully, he hit the brakes in time. Still shaken, he looked up and realized the guy blocking their car was the same young man from earlier today. He was about to roll down the window and curse him out, but before he could say anything, Clara had already gotten out of the car. She stood in front of him, scolding him with an air of superiority. He couldn't hear what she was saying, but the guy looked like he was on the verge of breaking down. His face was twisted in pain, bright red with fury, veins bulging at his temples, lips trembling like he was about to explode, but couldn't find the words. Something compelled him to roll down the window just in time to hear him yell, "Either divorce him or we're done." His bloodshot eyes reminded him of Eva earlier that day. She'd said the same thing on the phone. "Either you get a divorce or we're done." He'd said, "Divorcing her is complicated." Eva replied, "Then break up with me. It's not like I'm anything more than your on-call entertainment anyway. Breaking up is easy, just a single sentence from you, Eric." Then she hung up on him. Thinking about it now, he sighed. Clara, of course, handled things differently. She sneered. "Oh, look at you, growing a backbone now. Fine, break up it is. What, you think I'm scared? In a minute I'll have my husband drive me to pack my bags." He was speechless, but the guy changed his mind right after. He dropped to his knees. "I don't want to break up," he pleaded. "Please divorce him. Clara, I really love you. Will you marry me? I'll treat you right, I promise." Clara scoffed. "You'd really marry me if I got divorced?" Suddenly his eyes lit up. He nodded like a bobblehead. "Of course I would." But Clara wasn't buying it. She sneered. "You say that now just to get me to leave my husband. If I actually did, you'd just feel proud that you tricked me, isn't that right? You men only like me because I'm someone else's wife. You think I'm stupid? You feed me sweet talk, so I'll divorce for you, but it's all just to feed your own ego. Marry me? Who'd marry a woman who cheated on her husband?" He tried to explain, but Clara was done. She flipped her hair and snapped. "If you want to break up, then go. Don't ever bother me again." She turned to leave. Still not giving up, he grabbed her arm. "Don't go, babe. I'm sorry, okay? You don't have to divorce him. Can we just not break up?" Clara bit her lip, then forced out one word between clenched, "Leave." Honestly, the whole scene was absurd. He was her husband, technically. He should have been furious watching his wife fight with her side guy, or maybe pleased he was out of the picture. But all he felt was amusement. That's just how Clara is. When she likes you, she's sweet and gentle, makes you feel seen and understood. When she's over you, her words cut like knives, no filter, no mercy. When she said yes to his proposal, she cried tears of joy. He really thought he'd spend the rest of his life with her. He wanted to treat her right, grow old together. But Clara is cold at her core. One moment she's clinging to you, saying she loves you. The next, if anything doesn't go her way, she turns on you, plays mind games. She always expected him to be her emotional support, but never once asked what he needed. At bottom, she's selfish. She doesn't love anyone. She only loves herself. Spending a lifetime as her husband? Honestly, what a joke. So when Clara got back in the car, he looked her straight in the eye and said seriously, "We should get a divorce." She frowned. "Where's this coming from all of a sudden?" "I mean it," he said. "Clara, let's get a divorce." She frowned deeper. "There's got to be a reason. Is it because of that guy back there?" He chuckled. "Not really. The woman I've been seeing outside, she's demanding a divorce too. Says if I don't let her move up, she's leaving me." Clara snorted. "Then let her leave. Go find another. Why are you always so indecisive?" He shook his head. "Clara, I'm not like you. I actually like her. I don't want to lose her. So yeah, we're getting divorced." She looked at him like he was being ridiculous. "Eric, are you serious? She's just your side piece. You know how much of a mess divorce would cause for us." He lit a cigarette, indifferent. A few $100 million probably. Clara hated the smell of smoke, but he didn't care enough to stop. She pinched her nose. "Eric, just throw some money at her and be done with it. If you don't know how to handle it, I can help." He replied, "No need. She doesn't need the money. And the truth is, I don't want to lose her." Clara fell silent. Then she asked, "Who is she?" He wasn't sure if she'd figured it out. He smiled and said, "That's none of your business. We agreed from the start, live your own life, stay out of mine, remember?" The car reached their destination. He said, "This is your stop. I'm going to pick someone up, so head home yourself. I'll be in touch once the papers are drafted." Just as Clara stepped out of the car, a female voice called from behind them. "Eric." He turned and saw Eva walking toward him. She glanced briefly at Clara, then naturally slipped her arm through his. She asked, "Was what you texted me earlier true?" He nodded. After making up his mind, he had sent her a message. He didn't expect her to come so quickly. Clara looked at Eva, then looked back at him. She said, "Don't tell me the woman you've been seeing is Eva." He neither confirmed nor denied it. He just turned to Eva and said, "Let's go." But Clara rushed over and blocked their way. Angrily she demanded, "Eric, answer me. Is Eva the one you've been seeing?" He frowned. "Does it matter?" "It matters. Clara shouted. I never hooked up with your friends. He chuckled. Even if you tried, they wouldn't go for you. My guys like them young, you're not their type. Move. Clara didn't budge. She glared at Eva and said bitterly, I thought you were my best friend, and you steal my husband? Eva tilted her head slightly and smirked. Do you really think we would have ever met if it weren't for your husband? If it weren't for Eric, you think I would have ever agreed to be your best friend? Not only did Clara go silent, even he didn't know how to respond. Back in the car, he turned to Eva and asked, What did you mean by that? Eva gave him a sidelong glance. Exactly what I said. I mean, he clarified. Did we know each other before? Eva's expression was hard to read. Just when he thought she wouldn't answer, she said, We were classmates for 3 years in middle school. I also went to the affiliated high school. He tried to recall, but for the life of him, he couldn't remember her from back then. We're here, he said as they arrived at their destination. Before getting out, Eva turned to him and asked, Eric, when will you finalize the divorce? Leaning against the car door, he replied, I'll have the lawyer start the asset division tomorrow, then speak to Clara after that. Eva's eyes lit up. She smiled and asked, Are you sure? He answered, Yes. She asked, What if Clara refuses to divorce? He looked at her and said clearly, She'll agree. Suddenly, Eva threw herself into his arms. With a trembling voice, she said, Eric, the way I was raised, I was taught never to interfere in someone else's marriage. When I heard you were married after coming back to China, I had no intention of bothering you. But then I saw it with my own eyes, your wife cheating on you, and I saw you drinking alone at a bar. My heart shattered. I couldn't stand Clara. When my friend introduced her to me as her bestie, I wanted to say no, but knowing she was your wife, somehow I agreed to meet her anyway. Later, seeing you drinking like that, I wanted to go over to tell you to divorce her and stop hurting yourself. But what right did I have? We weren't even friends. To you, I was probably just your wife's friend, nothing more. I never imagined you'd actually approach me first. You don't know how happy I was in that moment. That night, nothing really happened between us. I lied to you. I just didn't want you to leave and disappear, for us to go back to being two strangers with no connection. When you told me you wouldn't divorce her but wanted me to be your girlfriend, I cried for a long time after you left. I felt like you were humiliating me. After that, I told myself if you won't divorce her then we'll cut ties for good. But after I drank, all I could think about was you. I told myself to stop, but I couldn't. In the end, I called you and said I was willing to be the other woman. He stood there and let Eva hold him, her voice shaking as she poured out her heart. His chest suddenly tightened like something was gripping it hard. He patted her back gently and said, You're not a mistress. Isn't it said that being unloved is what makes someone the other woman? You're not unloved. Eva buried her face in the crook of his neck. She whispered, Eric, I've already broken every rule I was taught. I've lost my pride. I've lost everything. All I have left is you. He felt the warm wetness on his neck. He didn't know what to do with his hands. Eva had started crying again. Between sobs, she said, Eric, don't lie to me. Please don't hurt me. Over the next few days, Clara reached out to him several times. He knew why she was contacting him, so he turned her down every time. It wasn't until the lawyer had finalized all the documents that he went to Chun Corporation to deliver the paperwork himself. A receptionist recognized him. Mr. Lee, Miss Chun is in a board meeting with Chairman Yu. Would you like me to take you upstairs to wait? He replied, No thanks, I'll head up myself. Still, she kindly helped him press the elevator button. He took the elevator to the top floor. As he was about to walk to Clara's office to wait for her, a broad-shouldered man stepped in his way. He looked him up and down with arrogance. What department are you from? He barked. You blind or something? You think you can just stroll into Miss Chen's office like this is a wet market? He didn't recognize him, but the badge around his neck read Executive Assistant. So this was Clara's new assistant. He immediately understood the situation. His voice was loud, and people were starting to glance their way. One of the older employees recognized him and rushed over, pulling him aside. I'm so sorry, Mr. Lee. He's new and doesn't know who you are. Please don't take it personally. You're here to see Miss Chun, right? She's in a meeting with Chairman Yu. Please wait a moment. He nodded and walked straight into Clara's office. Behind him, the assistant was still grumbling. Who the hell does he think he is? Why are we just letting him waltz in? The other guy tried to hush him. Are you nuts? That's Mr. Lee, Miss Chen's husband. If you get your face smashed in later, don't say I didn't warn you. The assistant sneered. Him? I'm supposed to be scared of him? Please, if anything, I'd be the one doing the smashing. He peeked through the crack in the door, then deliberately raised his voice. Besides, everyone in the company knows Miss Chen's husband keeps a side chick. If I beat him up, Clara would probably thank me. He just smiled to himself, no point bothering with him. Clara and he were getting divorced anyway. Soon Clara came in. She said, I've been trying to reach you these past few days, but you kept saying you were too busy. Now you suddenly have time to come over. Her tone was warm and casual, like they were just a normal married couple. He didn't waste words. He placed the divorce agreement on the desk, and asset division documents in front of her. Just as he was about to speak, the assistant walked in with a coffee. He smiled. Miss Chun, your coffee. There were 2 people in the office, yet he brought only 1 cup. Clara frowned in annoyance, but he obliviously beamed. This is just for you. I made it specially. Clara asked, and my husband's? Only then did the assistant turn to him and say impatiently, What do you want to drink? He replied, Nothing. I just came to say a few things, then I'll leave. Now could you step out? Clara and I have serious business to discuss. But the guy was an idiot with zero awareness. He stood there glaring at him, refusing to move until Clara finally snapped. What's wrong with you? My husband asked you to leave. What are you still doing here? The assistant huffed. I'm just looking out for you. What if he tries to screw you over? Clara clenched her teeth. Are you insane? What happens between me and my husband is none of your business. Grumbling, the assistant finally left. Clara pressed her lips together. He's not usually like that. My dad said he's talented. That's the only reason he's still here. No idea what got into him today. He chuckled. Probably sees me as some kind of rival. Clara's eyes flickered. She said, I can ask my dad to have him transferred. No need. He looked at her. It doesn't matter anymore. We're getting divorced. Whether you want to play the role of the cheating wife or the ice-cold CEO, it has nothing to do with me now. He laid the divorce agreement open on the table. This is the property division. If you're unhappy with anything, say so now. I'll be blunt. What's up for grabs are a few villas and cars. Everything else isn't in my name. So even if you wanted a piece, you couldn't get it. To be specific, the villas I purchased after our wedding stay with me. The car my parents gave you goes to you. Of the other properties, 2 in South City are yours. The ones in West and East Loop go to me. Clara didn't even glance at the paperwork. She looked at him instead. Do we really have to divorce? Yes, he said plainly. She lifted her gaze. But I don't want a divorce, Eric. We don't have to end it like this. He smiled and asked, Why not, Clara? I've been tolerating you for years. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this day. Still, she seemed convinced he'd forgive her. Is it because of that assistant? He's totally out of line. If he's the issue, I'll fire him. When he didn't respond, she tried again. Or is it about that guy from before? I told you I already cut him off completely. Eric, say something. He spoke calmly. It's not about anyone. I just want a divorce, that's all. You're lying. Clara suddenly swept everything off the desk in a rage. She screamed, Not about anyone. You're divorcing me because of Eva, that home-wrecking slut. She lunged at him, scratching and clawing. You fell in love with her? How dare you fall in love with her? He slapped her across the face. Don't you fucking lose it in front of me. He shoved her off, stood up, and said coldly, If you won't sign the papers, we'll let the court handle it. After attending an event, he was just about to get into his car when Eva suddenly appeared in front of him. She smiled and said, What a coincidence, Mr. Lee. Mind giving me a ride on the way? He asked, Want to grab something to eat before heading home? She nodded. Sure. It was crab season, so they ordered a dish of steamed crab. Eva had beautiful hands, and she handled the crabs with impressive finesse. It was oddly mesmerizing to watch. He couldn't help but steal a few glances. He asked, Did you just get your nails done? Eva nodded. They look great, he said. Her eyelashes fluttered and her cheeks flushed pink in an instant. He quickly changed the subject. You said you went to the affiliated high school. How come I don't remember you? It wasn't just him. After that day, he asked several of their old classmates, and none of them remembered her either. She explained, I only attended the school for my freshman year. Then my family sent me overseas. No wonder. After dinner, he drove her home. With a grin, he asked, Aren't you going to invite me in? She blinked, then turned her head away to avoid his teasing gaze. She scoffed and said, When you're divorced, you can come in anytime. Until then, no. Just as Eva finished speaking, a voice called out behind them. Eric. It was Clara. She shouted. I knew it. I knew you'd come see her. He was speechless. She continued. Do you even remember what today is, Eric? Today is our wedding anniversary. I waited for you the entire day, and you were out with another woman. Seeing her stomping and shouting like this just made him want to laugh. They'd been married for years and only celebrated their anniversary during the first few. Even then, it was always him planning everything, preparing surprises while she barely responded. Eventually, their marriage turned into nothing but a shared routine. What's the point in celebrating? And now she suddenly wanted to play the victim? What a joke. Once she finished her outburst, he finally spoke. You done? If so, please leave. As expected, Clara didn't back off. She reached out to grab him, but Eva stepped in and pushed her hand away. She said coldly, Miss Chun, if you've got something to say, say it. But keep your hands to yourself. Clara snapped. He's my husband. None of your damn business. Eva rolled her eyes. Not for long. Clara screamed. Eva, do you even have a conscience? She raised her hand, about to slap Eva, but he caught her wrist midair. Frowning, he said, Have you lost your mind, Clara? If you don't want to spend the night at the police station, I suggest you leave now. Given that the Lee and Chin families were old family friends, he didn't escalate it further, just called the residential security and had them escort her out. Finally, silence. He turned and looked at Eva. She kept her head down, lips pressed tight, looking like someone who had just been deeply wronged. He asked, What's wrong? Her voice was raspy when she spoke. When she called you her husband, just that one sentence, it crushed me. She forced a bitter smile, lips trembling. I just wish that one day I could say you're my husband too, without shame, without hesitation. He gently rubbed the top of her head and whispered, Soon. Clara refused to sign the divorce papers, so over the weekend, he picked a time to visit her parents. After explaining the situation between Clara and him, he handed them the prepared documents. Mr. Chen looked through the papers and tried to persuade him to stay. He said, Eric, you and Clara have been together for so many years. Do you really need to end it in divorce? Our kind of families aren't like ordinary people who can separate on a whim. This involves the interests of both our families. A single move can affect everything. You understand that, don't you? He smiled faintly and said, But life isn't just about money, Uncle Andy. You know she's been cheating on me. If she continues to refuse the divorce, I'll have to take it to court, and that won't be a good look for anyone. That's why I came today, to ask for your help convincing her. Just as he finished, Clara suddenly ran down the stairs. She tore the documents into shreds. I told you I'm not getting divorced, she screamed. Eric, you think you can leave me and go be with Eva? Over my dead body. Her emotions were all over the place. She lunged at him and grabbed his arm. Grinding her teeth, she said, Eric, is this revenge because I cheated on you? Fine, you win, okay? I don't want a divorce. I love you. I can't live without you. Break up with Eva, please. I'll behave. I'll be faithful. Let's just live like a real couple again, okay? He pried her fingers off one by one. No. He turned to her parents. Please try to talk some sense into her. If not, I'll be submitting the paperwork to the court on Monday. Mrs. Chen asked, Eric, do your parents know about this? He replied, They do. They said they respect my decision. She nodded. All right. Clara wronged you. Don't worry. I'll make sure she signs. As he was about to leave, Clara still wouldn't give up. She stood in front of him, blocking the door. Eric, please. I know I was wrong. Just give me another chance, okay? He yanked his arm away. And who gave me a chance, Clara? Haven't you always thought of yourself as smart, independent, like you could see through men and relationships and manipulate everything with ease? Do you even know that someone recorded videos of you hooking up with multiple guys in hotels and sent them straight to my phone? Did you know they blackmailed me, said if I didn't pay them $50 million, they'd leak the footage online? Tell me, do I deserve this? Clara's pupils shrank. She choked out, "Two didn't know. I didn't know you went through all that." He cut her off. What are you thinking? Of course I didn't pay them. Why the hell would I give them a dime? He paused and gave her a dry smile. So, congratulations. You're officially a trending internet celeb now. She didn't stop him again. Just as he reached the door, Mrs. Chun slapped her daughter across the face. Clara, do you even know what shame is? How did I raise someone like you? As he was leaving the neighborhood, he ran into an old high school classmate. Back in school, they used to hang out but eventually lost touch. He said, I heard from some classmates you've been asking about Eva. He nodded. Yeah, someone said she went to our high school, but I didn't remember her, so I asked around. He looked surprised. You forgot. Eva was in our class for all 3 years of middle school, and in high school, she sat right in front of you during freshman year. She used to be kind of chubby, then suddenly went abroad. His words sparked a vague memory. There was a girl like that, quiet, shy, always blushing when you talked to her. He continued. She didn't have many friends back then. None of us knew she was the daughter of the Chin family. But wow, talk about a glow-up. She's tall, gorgeous now. He added, if you want her number, I could ask my wife. Eva knows her. He smiled and shook his head. No need, thanks. They chatted briefly, and he said goodbye. But just as he took a few steps away, he called out again. Eric. Yeah. There's something I'm not sure if I should tell you. He raised an eyebrow. He sighed. This is my bad, really. Back when Eva and I were neighbors, before she went abroad, she gave me a letter, a love letter for you. She asked me to give it to you, but I lost it. Later, when you got with Clara, I didn't bring it up again. I'm sorry, Eric. Did I mess things up for you? He shook his head. It's fine. It's all in the past. The day he got his divorce certificate, Eva acted like it was no big deal, but the smile tugging at the corners of her lips never faded. He asked, finished reading it? Give it back. Eva glanced at him, then slipped the certificate into her purse. She said, this is great. What is? She smiled. The weather's great. The breeze is nice and you're here. Then she rose up on her toes and kissed him. You're the best, she whispered. Eva's eyes sparkled with emotion. She wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him again and again until his heart raced and his mind went completely blank. Then a single tear fell on the back of his hand. She asked softly, Eric, can we be together now? Her eyes were wet, deep black like 2 swirling galaxies. He leaned down and kissed her. Of course, he said.